Welcome to IDT Talks. My name is Anastasia Lavrina. Today we have a very special guest. Joining me now from Pakistan is Hamza Asghar Aslam, journalist, founder and editor of the Pakistan Daily. Warm welcome to IDT Talks.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. This week, official delegation from Pakistan is here in Azerbaijan, in Baku. Two countries are discussing the strengthening of the bilateral cooperation, and we do know about the close partnership between Baku and Islamabad. So my first question, what does this strategic partnership mean for both sides, and why is it so important right now?
Well, I think Pakistan and Azerbaijan have significantly expanded this bilateral relationship, not only in the political realm. As you mentioned, there's a Pakistani delegation in Baku right now, but also we've seen a lot of strides in the military realm. We've seen Azerbaijan acquiring Pakistan's JF-17C fighter jets. We've also seen people-to-people relations. We've seen economic cooperation between these two nations. So I think that the relationship between Pakistan and Azerbaijan is not dependent on a singular factor. It's not just a political relationship or a military relationship or an economic relationship, but it's an amalgamation of multiple factors. And we're now seeing more cooperation between people. We've seen a Chamber of Commerce of Azerbaijan opening in Pakistan. So these are signals which show how this relationship is expanding. It's very important for both nations. Azerbaijan is one of the strongest partners Pakistan has. And I think that this relationship has a very good future. I think it will be strengthened in the coming days. And I think that we will see more economic cooperation between these two nations in the coming future.
Right. One of the key elements discussed during the visit of the official delegation to Azerbaijan is the importance of parliamentary diplomacy. How do you see the parliamentary diplomacy playing its role in strengthening relations between two countries?
Well, I think as both Pakistan and Azerbaijan are parliamentary democracies and they enjoy representative democracy, which is represented by the relevant parliaments, I think it's very important to learn from each other's systems, from each other's democratic processes, and to give each other advice. And I think it's also good to have relationships between parliamentarians, not just between specific government officials or ministers or ambassadors, but it's also nice for Pakistani parliamentarians to meet and to learn from Azerbaijani parliamentarians, and vice versa. There could also be cooperation in legislation, in lawmaking. So I think there's a lot of potential for these parliamentary delegations visits. But I also think that journalists and media have a role to play here. So just like there are parliamentary delegations going to each other's countries, I think that there should be more journalists delegations also, so that we can strengthen the media-to-media ties between these two brotherly nations.
Very interesting indeed. So another very important issues raised at the meetings, the post-conflict recovery of the region. Azerbaijan is investing now a lot to the rebuilding of all the infrastructure in the liberated lands in Karabakh and East Zangezur. From the Pakistani perspectives, how do you think this development will impact the region itself and the wider international community?
Well, Pakistan considers Azerbaijan a very strong partner, and Baku's interests in the South Caucasus echo Pakistan's interests. So the development of Karabakh would be very nice for Pakistan, for Islamabad. The best wishes of the people of Pakistan are with the people of Azerbaijan and the newly liberated people of Karabakh. But Pakistanis are also they have an emotional connection with Karabakh as well. And we were talking about this earlier because it has a similarity with Kashmir. The landscape is similar. It has similar dynamics. So the liberation of Karabakh and the development of Karabakh gives Pakistan hope for Kashmir as well. So just like Azerbaijan was able to achieve victory in Karabakh, we hope and we pray that Pakistan too can achieve a similar kind of victory and liberate Kashmir and develop Kashmir. So I think it has a very united relationship between these two countries, and the people of Pakistan can't wait for Karabakh to be developed, and maybe Pakistani tourists will also get a chance to visit. I personally, I've been to Shusha, I've been to Lachin, and they're so beautiful places. So I think that Pakistani tourists would love to see these beautiful mountains.
Right. The cooperation between Islamabad and Baku is also very well developed within the scope of the international organizations like the United Nations or the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. So where do you see the perspectives for more deep cooperation between two countries within the international platforms, especially in terms of addressing the global challenges?
Well, I think that both these countries have their own strategic significance. Pakistan, as a nuclear powered nation, has a role in global politics, and increasingly we've seen Azerbaijan also, expand its geopolitical muscle. We also saw COP29, which was very successfully hosted in Baku, where global leaders met and conceived solutions to the ecological crisis, the environmental crisis. And I think that these regional and global cooperative organizations have a big role to play in global challenges, and not one country can solve all these problems. So I think it is very important for brotherly nations like Pakistan and Azerbaijan to get together. And also, we're seeing a new trilateral dynamic emerging, in which Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan are emerging as a sort of independent bloc with their own geopolitical strategy and their own weight and muscle on global issues. Recently, Islamabad hosted President Erdogan, symbolizing this new trilateral dynamic. So I do think that not one country can solve any global issue, whether it's a global conflict or a regional conflict, or it's other issues pertaining to the environment. I do think these two countries, in particular, Pakistan and Azerbaijan, have a very big role to play, and their increased collaboration will fare well for the global community. I think that perhaps the growing relationship and the expanding dynamic between Islamabad and Baku is a good example for other nations in how bilateral ties can be strengthened, cemented, and solidified in such a short period of time. So I do think that yes, in the coming years, perhaps this could be a case study for academics and for journalists and for other thought leaders who can see that how these two nations built and strengthened their bilateral relationship in such a short period of time.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining our DZ Talks today.
Thank you for having me.